Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special presentation with Mike and Ethan.
Elf will not be seen tonight.
That's right, we have Mike and Ethan, and once again, Tom from Flash in the Pan has joined us. You may remember Tom from the time that we talked about those wonderful fat slags. Today, Tom has brought us something about on par. Tell us about it, Tom.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Mike. Hi, Ethan. It is wonderful to be back on your illustrious program. It's really cool that you've been from strength to strength in the many years since I scored a perfect 10 out of 10 and decided never to come back. But you dragged me back in. You dragged me back in after my Vat Slag's victory lap.
For one last score.
But what a score! Because you've allowed me to make you watch slash rewatch the Canadian film fiasco that was Rock and Rule.
Now,
And
this was all
yeah.
inspired by things that have happened recently in real life. Not the
Yes.
events of the movie Rock and Rule, but what just us watching it. It'd be very weird if Rock and Rule had predicted 2025.
Yeah, that. I mean, there are some things which I wish we had a little bit more of, but at the same time, yeah. So, as far as anyone can tell, and there are no official confirmations as far as I know, unless something has changed dramatically in the last week, but Nelvana, the Nelvana, one of the most prolific and influential and hardworking and envelope pushing Canadian animation studio, Canadian companies really, but
Yeah.
especially Canadian animation studios, seems to have quietly closed down at the end of August here. So I'm coming to you from Canada. I'm coming to you from Vancouver, BC, and I have to tell you, the Canadian people have barely noticed.
Oh.
But the socials have had a good number of people writing, little eulogies and memorial threads talking about, like my dad used to work at Nelvana, or these shows were part of my childhood. Like Care Bear, Strawberry Shortcake, Inspector Gadget, all these shows that Nelvana made. If only we still had the Magic School Bus, if only Tintin the animated series was still on the air, maybe the world would be a better place. But yeah, lots of sad news, lots of people reacting with emotion, with passion, with regret that Nelvana, as far as anyone can tell, is now finally shuttered. Which means that there's no better time to revisit the time 40 years ago when they almost shuttered in 1983 from how badly their feature film debut performed with audiences.
Okay, so that's why you picked this one. I was just thinking that we probably would have acknowledged the closure of Nelvana with or without you, but I probably would have chosen the Rosie and Buddy show.
Yeah. Well, the Rosie and Buddy show is a phrase which I have never heard before and may never hear again. So
It was a pilot for an animated sitcom with Roseanne, which was a sequel to her Nelvana production Little Rosie, wherein Rosie and Buddy from the show have grown up and come to take revenge on Hollywood, and lots of other Nelvana characters appear in cameos.
so this is like this would have been like a Deadpool kills the Marvel universe sort of
Yes,
story.
a sort of Nelvana Smash Brothers. You see Roseanne intimidating Braveheart Lion, and then she gets thrown into a mental hospital with Beetlejuice.
Yeah, they really, I mean, it was that kind of thing that cartoons in the 90s were doing if they wanted to seem edgy, which was like, yeah, we're going to make fun of like the squishy bears type thing, which Also,
Of
like,
course, they had the actual Care Bears on staff, so
yeah, like they didn't have to do like an XP. They since they owned the rights, they could do the Space Ghost thing and have the actual Care Bears on. And also they were doing the thing where it's like we're going to make fun of the network censors, which is another big thing for like for cartoons in the '90s that were aimed at kids who read slightly above their grade level.
Yep. I mean, if I had cared whatsoever about Rosie O'Donnell as a child in the 90s in England, which, let's be fair, is very unlikely, then I'm sure I would have loved that pilot.
Oh, not Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne Barr.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a big difference.
I mean, yeah, you would be very interested in Roseanne Barr in the '90s in England, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Well, that's why I'm here in Canada and couldn't go to America after fleeing the UK, because my Rosie distinctions are way off.
I bet you're really disappointed that you couldn't flee to America.
Well, the difference seems to be which side of the Trump coin they landed on.
Well, I'll tell you this. I didn't care much for the Rosie and Buddy show.
No.
When I saw it, I was just like, it was a lot of like, oh God, like here's Roseanne Barr just like kissing her own ass, and Tom Arnold doing it too, which is also like, yeah, this was back when like Tom Arnold was, it was like Roseanne Barr was like, you have to put my shitty husband in everything. I'm a big star. Put him in it too. And nobody liked that guy at the time. Then he did True Lies, and everyone's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Now we like him. Now we like him. It was actually a really big deal. Like millions of Americans had a big existential crisis after watching True Lies because they were like, I thought I hated Tom Arnold. I thought I hated Tom Arnold, but maybe I like him. And it was only because I was being sexist against his wife and hating on him because I like to pretend he was like Nepo husband. But now I've seen him basically do the exact same shtick with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And now that Arnold Schwarzenegger is his platonic life partner, I kind of like him. So anyway, that was the start of Tom Arnold's, I guess, solo career. And then I guess he died because I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know what he's up to now.
Now he's Resistance Tom Arnold.
Oh, wow. You know what?
You wouldn't expect it from him, would you?
No, especially because isn't Roseanne Barr now like completely insane MAGA? Like,
yeah, but they have
MAGA.
been married for decades.
Yeah. Well, I guess he really dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, for real.
Because like she's like, isn't she like a Hawaiian juice farmer or something now?
Yeah, she had like a nut ranch and the reality show about it called Roseanne's Nuts. And
I don't think I want to watch a reality show where Roseanne Barr is juicing Hawaiians.
Not. I think they really misjudged the public's appetite for. I mean, Roseanne Barr in general.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know what the public ever saw in Roseanne Barr, but I guess she was popular at one point.
No, the show Roseanne was one of my all-time favorites, and then she got herself fired from the relaunch by basically saying that the president of CBS was a DEI hire. So.
Well, you know what? She said it too soon. If she had waited till Trump was president, now she'd be the president of CBS herself for saying that.
Trump was president when she said it.
Oh, really? Wasn't Trump number one?
Yeah.
Or Trump? Oh, okay. See, that's the problem. She said it back when he was like trying to be like a normal president. Before he was just like.
That's an insane thing to say, but it's true.
I mean, he was. I don't know if he was trying or if they just wouldn't let him be like, the great leader or whatever. And he just. But for some reason, it was different. It was different times. Anyway, but Roseanne Barr, but who cares about her? We were here to talk about the greatest animated film ever made, which is Rock and Roll.
See, I was trying to find a good segue point, like resistance, Tom. You know what the unit of resistance is? Ohms, and you know what takes place in Ohmtown is most of the film Rock and Roll, or alternatively. Speaking of celebrity power couples, there's one involved in the creation of Rock and Roll, but we can get into that a bit later. So, like, how should we start with this? Should we talk about its legendary troubled production, or should we get into what the film actually is?
I feel like talking about the troubled production will set people up for what the film actually is better. Because I gotta say, I had no idea what the hell was going on in this movie until I watched the making of, and they explained to everyone. See, they actually saved all the characterization and exposition for that.
Was this your first time watching this, Ethan?
No, I'd seen it before, but I forgot how much I hated it.
Oh, I see. We are two ships passing in the night in opposite directions, and I'm going straight to ohmTown, baby. Wire the soundtrack directly into my veins.
I will have to agree with Tom in this one. I fucking love rock and roll, but I'm also
everyone has different needs in their media.
Yeah, I'm also on record as being like a huge heavy metal booster. So, like, take that for.
Yeah, like Blondie.
Yeah, I love Blondie.
I mean, same, yeah.
Yeah. Except every time every time she sings, I'm always like, "Where's Dagwood?"
Fun fact about Blondie:
wasn't Debbie Harry in this too?
Yes,
Debbie Harry is the lady from Blondie.
Oh, okay. I thought she was Blondie. All right.
What?
I
thought she was Blondie.
Well, she is Blondie. I mean, there's other people in the band, but like she's Blondie.
Okay. Is Iggy Pop not the guy's real name too?
Actually, it's short for Igbert Pop.
Igbert. Okay.
Igbert Pop.
No, it's short for his real name is Iggy Nutmeg.
So yeah, as our audience can hear, this is a weird and strange film that is hard to. It's very slippery. It's like listening to your favorite weird uncle tell you about his favorite set of short stories that he wrote when he was a teen about the cool cyber future.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So okay. This was first conceived way back in 1978. So in the late 70s, Nelvana was a plucky, up and coming young animation studio in Canada, and they were and they were doing like television specials. They did like a couple of Christmas specials. They did something called Romy Zero and Julie 8, which was an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, but with like lumpy 70s robots.
It was. It's so good.
Lumpy 70s robots? Are we talking like R2D2 or?
We're talking like Jetsons C-Team lumpy robots.
Like Vincent and Old Bob?
Well, it's more that the style of animation is a little lumpy, I think.
Okay.
It looks a little like if you were like, kind of doing the whole movie Squiggle Vision robot thing. But I do like Romeo and Juliet because it contains a character who's very much a dry run for Wiz Weasel from Devil and Daniel Mouse, and another character who's pretty much a dry run for Beelzebub from Devil and Daniel Mouse, which was included as a short feature on the Rock and Roll DVD. So you really should pick up the Rock and Roll DVD because, that's two for the price of one. Two great Nelvana films for one low price. In fact, it's getting lower now that they're out of business.
Yeah, technically 2.5, because you don't just get the original Rock and Roll American theatrical cut, but you get the undoctored Canadian cut, and I'm sure we'll talk about those differences later on. But you mentioned The Devil and Daniel Mouse, and that is important because that was the short in 1978 that got Nelvana. They got the people. Let me try that again. So that was the 1978 Nelvana special, inspired by the short story "The Devil and Daniel Webster," which I think is one of those short stories that no one has actually read, but they have definitely seen or read adaptations and adaptions of. It's like basically, like a not quite a Devil Went Down to Georgia thing. It's more of a sold my soul for rock and roll kind of thing.
Oh, yes. Okay, I was completely confused. I thought I was doing the bat snail thing with The Devil and Daniel Webster and Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's son-in-law.
I don't know what Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's son-in-law, is, but
No, you know what? I think you made that up, Ethan. I think you should answer. I think you should answer for your lies in front of the public.
Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's son-in-law, 1977 American blaxploitation comedy film starring comedian Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh, I like Rudy Ray Moore.
is it about what happens in it?
A successful nightclub comedian is murdered by jealous rivals. He's resurrected through a literal deal with the devil, having agreed to marry the devil's daughter. He gained magical powers. Grand. That's awesome. Wow.
Okay, that's a little different. That reminds me more of oh god. I mean, I've heard variations of that story too. The coming back from hell with the deal from the devil.
Yeah,
Devil and
that's,
Daniel
actually, that's
Webster.
basically Spawn, isn't it?
It is, yes. I think there is a Ur story that those all kind of draw from, but I can't remember it right now. I think it was like actually a Greek story, but I'm a Greek.
Are you
Orpheus?
thinking of Orpheus and Eurydice?
Oh, maybe I am. No, it's not quite the same. That's not
No,
really.
no.
No,
'Cause
that's
he
not
didn't
quite.
die first. So.
No. I forget. Okay, so but I have heard variants of that story.
Yeah.
The Devil and Daniel Webster is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Ethan, you may remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer sells his soul for a donut.
Yes.
That's
And
the
of
Devil
course-
and Daniel Webster.
Yes. And I have seen The Devil and Daniel Mouse, too.
Oh,
I think
okay,
it's-
yeah.
I think The Devil and Daniel Mouse is much better than Rock and Rule.
Which is interesting because The Devil and Daniel Mouse is why Rock and Roll exists.
Yes, the one is a remake of the other, but you wouldn't know which one to guess.
So yeah,
And The Devil and Daniel Mouse is why I'm like, okay, yeah, we're doing Rock and Rule, but with Tom? I thought Aurelina would be here for this.
no such luck, I'm afraid, and I can't do the voice right, so I can't pretend. But yeah, so 78 is when The Devil and Daniel Mouse comes out, and it's a moderate success. But the suits, the writers, the animators at Nelvana get a little bee in their bonnet about, and they're like, what if we made this but more and bigger? Put a pin in that, because the more important thing that happens in 1978 is that George Lucas commissions Nelvana to make the 10-minute animated sequence for the Star Wars Holiday Special, widely regarded as the only good part of the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Truth.
Didn't some of the same bands perform at the Star Wars Holiday Special?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yep.
And so,
What a cheap trick.
So, buoyed by the success of their shorts, Nelvana decide to go all in on this crazy project called Rock and Rule. Partially because they had the confidence of, building up their brand and their reliability over the last few years, but also because of the work that Nelvana did on heavy metal, which was this huge internationally cult classic, let's say.
Yes.
Like a big anthology, lots of different animators from lots of different parts of the world. Like classic 1981, I think, midnight movie. Like it found its audience, even if it's a little bit shaky, especially after 45 years. I think you guys did an episode on heavy metal a while back, actually. Ethan, you have gone completely robot.
Oh, don't worry. That's why I have the other. I'm doing the other one.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so the success of heavy metal really helped them double down on the Rock and Roll project. At this point, Rock and Roll had gone through lots of different, not incarnations, but lots of different idea phases. And for whatever reason, they kept up the idea phases all the way until they had already started animating the film. By the time people are putting ink to paper and they're taking pictures of frames and they're loading up the computer technology to do the really gorgeous layered background work, they don't have a finished script yet. And if there's one thing I can tell you from the last 15 years of watching big budget Hollywood superhero films is that starting to make a movie without a finished script is always a good idea.
Well, I can name at least one movie where it really paid off.
Rock and roll.
No,
yeah.
The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, I guess.
The movie, they didn't finish the script until it had already been in theaters for 2 weeks.
I mean, but by that
This
point,
is
it was
literally
also
true.
by that point it was also a completely different film, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy The Emperor's New Groove, but it's no rock and roll.
Yeah, it's
Oh my God.
it's no Kingdom of the Sun. Let's be honest.
Yeah, thank God.
So you can I think like it's difficult to imagine the kind of pressure and the kind of stress that like a studio full to the brim with animators working under immense and fraught deadline anxiety could be in 1983, right? Where everyone is doing this stuff by hand. We have computer technology, which I'm sure we'll talk about later when we talk about some of the special effects, but it's all in service of the act of like painting the cells, of drawing the characters, of doing the motion in betweens, of synchronizing the sound. Right, so this is an all hands on deck production. They had over 300 animators involved in it. And by the time that it was finally pushed out the door, it was almost double its original budget of $5 million. Right? Like, that is a colossal undertaking and an enormous risk for the studio to take at that point, right? Like, when you're spending $8 million on an animated feature that you told investors would take $5 million and would probably be done a couple of years before this. I can't imagine how miserable it must have been to work on in the latter days of production.
Wow. Well, no, I'm sure it'll all be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. So some of these details you can kind of get from reading between the lines in the making of short. On the Internet Archive, there is a full rip from the Unearthed Films Blu-ray release, which includes, like I said, both the American and Canadian cuts. It has a fun work print of the ending sequence, as well as a work print of the opening, but also it has the making of, which is a nice 24 minutes with lots of people with fantastic early 80s looks. There's one especially good scene. I forget their names, but there's a man and a woman explaining some of the computer systems, and this woman is like dressed in like a really smart kind of new wave, like androgynous dinner jacket look, and there's a guy standing behind the computer looking like a hippie who wants to play tennis. It's fantastic.
He was my favorite character.
Yeah, so it's 1983. It's April, and they finally get a release, but not before the distributors in America, MGM United Artists, decide, actually, we don't like the guy you've got to voice the main character. Let's redub him with a guy. And so they replace the voice actor Greg Salata, or maybe Greg Salata, I'm not sure. But they replace him with Paul Le Mat, who had kind of a cult stardom. He'd been in George Lucas's American Graffiti. He'd be in a couple of Jonathan Demme films as well. And so MGM thought, yeah, this guy's got the kind of star power to move rock and roll.
Well, I mean, audiences couldn't get enough of this guy, so
yeah. I mean, he had been nominated for a couple of Golden Globes by then.
Yeah. Well, he plays Omar in this movie.
Yeah, he plays Omar, the main character.
Gotcha.
He doesn't sound like an Omar to me, but
no. Yeah, it's an interesting choice of name. I'm not sure why. But also importantly,
it's because it's an anagram of Romy Zero.
Oh, I see.
See, because this movie is a remake of The Devil and Daniel Mouse, which is a revised version of Romeo, Zero, and Julie 8. So, I mean, it's kind of like Star Fox. They keep remaking the same story.
But before it finally comes out, MGM they don't just MGM don't just recast Greg Salata as Paul Le Mat, but they also rewrite a lot of the scenes to tone down Omar's potty mouth. But also, very importantly, they added the couple of expository text screens at the start of the film to explain why everyone is a weird animal creature.
Yeah.
Because
I appreciate that, because I was like, these did not have to be weird animal creatures. It's very distracting.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that changed during production, is that originally the characters were much closer to a Devil and Daniel Mouse kind of look. They were much closer to like a classic anthropomorphic cartoon animal look. But I forget if it was due to like studio pressure, or if it was like marketing people saying, yeah, we're going to make it more up. They want to look less like Mickey Mouse and more like weird mutants.
Yeah.
So they end up looking as they do now, which is, I think, mostly kind of cool, except for the two leads. But like, yeah, at the start of the movie, we get like, the world ended. There was a World War III, and the only survivors were the street animals like dogs and rats and cats, and they evolved into a new race of mutants. But that was a long time ago, right? So it does the kind of like what I think is like a pretty common thing in furry media, especially of the olden times, where they have to have a diegetic reason why there are animal people walking around. So like they're the results of like some mad science experiments, or maybe there was like a genetic mutation, or they came from space, like in the classic unmade pilot Zoo U. Listen to Flash in the Pan episode 124 for the skinny on that one.
Any connection to Zazu U?
Not to my knowledge.
That's a deep cut.
I like I do like this rock and roll though, because it's kind of got that that 70s thing where they were like, we're making animation for adults, but it's still a cartoon, so it's got to be animals. It's got to be cartoon animals, and they've got this kind of this not quite. They haven't quite squared this circle, but I love it all the more for it, because it's so it's just what it is.
Yeah, and you can feel this is definitely downstream of Bakshi, right?
Yes.
This is definitely,
yeah.
But also this is definitely downstream of like the weird stuff that Disney was putting out in the 70s, where like they were really struggling to find their feet again with what they wanted as a brand and what they wanted from like their animations. But I think the thing it is most in debt to has to be heavy metal. Stylistically, aesthetically, in terms of like its sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
Because you have this weird kind of awkward blend of jokes about like stupid cops and like weird corporate stuff, and like, hey, isn't the club crazy? Look at all these wacky characters, and they're drinking and doing drugs, and they're all really horny, but also cartoon sound effects, slapstick, characters that like bounce and wobble and squash and stretch all over the place. Like you've got a fantastic trio of like, yeah, G-Boss kind of hired goons in this. We'll definitely talk more about those guys later.
Yes.
And so tonally it is this weird amalgam of stuff that I can see for a lot of people, and clearly for a lot of audiences, just not fitting together.
Yeah, it's for a refined palate. Is I mean, here's the thing: is like rock and roll is even by the standards of the 70s, when people were much less demanding that a script be coherent. Because if you watch older movies, they are usually kind of rambling. They're written by people rather than the beautiful algorithm, and as such, they kind of just go wherever they go. And very often, you'll have plot threads that peter out. You'll have characters disappear from stories. It happens a lot in older films. But even by those standards, this is a ramshackle script. It is all over the place. It
really is, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite character's entire thing appears and then vanishes, never to be seen again. And we know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about her, I'm sure, at length as well. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, this is something that I can imagine, like, even audiences of the time would have. This is a hard sell because there's a lot going on here. It's adult animation, which is already kind of a confusing thing for people in this day and age. Like, until I feel like, the idea of adult animation, we are post Bakshi, so people are kind of starting to get it, but
American Pop was only a couple of years before this. I mean, American Pop did fine. People liked American Pop.
Yeah, so it's a thing. It's at this point, like, people kind of can understand it, but it's still confusing. Like, even it, this is a thing that we see over and over, like, even into like the 90s, like things like Capital Critters and Fish Police, which could not really understand the difference between making animation for children and making it for adults. It was too confusing because it's like, you got a medium that is for children, but you gotta want to make it adults, but you gotta keep the kids. So Rock and Roll is a fairly good attempt at that, but it's still confusing for audiences. It's still a little confusing. And then on top of that, you got a script that is completely bonkers all over the place. And you got you also got like some hardcore demonic imagery.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I don't know. Like, I personally think that movie, like 70s animation, rock and roll, mutants, cool, like, future shit and demons all go together so well. It's all under that kind of umbrella of cool stuff to airbrush on the side of a van.
Yeah, stuff that'll scare your parents when you make them rent this from the video store.
Yes. It's very cool, but also, like, it's the sort of thing that, like all cool things, it leaves the normies scratching their heads and fuming with impotent rage that they've been forced to have an experience.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that this only had like a cult fandom. I don't know if people were into rock and roll until like the 90s even, because like by the time you get to the late 80s, the idea that cartoons are strictly a children's medium has been lodged in stone, I think, especially in the US.
Which is really weird because, I mean, into the 70s, they were making stuff like the Flintstones in prime time. See, what happened was there was like a 6-month period in the 70s when cartoons were just for kids, and no one will ever let them forget it. It's nonsense to say animation for adults. That's like saying ketchup for adults.
Yeah, but see, what it was is in the 80s, we had this backlash against cool stuff. It's the same thing that happened like after, you remember how things were kind of cool in America for a little while, and it's like, hey, maybe things are going to be good, and then there's this big backlash, and we decided, no, we want to be really racist and also like blow ourselves up. It was like that, except on a smaller scale and only about cartoons. But that was the 80s. It was this backlash when everything cool got like pushed to the sidelines, and that's why you had the Satanic Panic. You had like, oh no, rock and roll and role-playing games and horror movies and cartoons are all bad. They're bad. And instead, what we're going to have for the next 10 years is Jesus. And that was a dark time. That was a dark national time in America. It's a good thing we'll never be back in those days. But anyway, then the 90s is when cartoons, they started bringing stuff like The Simpsons, kind of opened that door again. Then you got like all sorts of cartoons for adults, and
I think it is not until the late 80s, early 90s, especially early 90s, where you get animators and writers and producers who are able to kind of square the circle and make stuff that is fun for kids that adults will also appreciate on some level, right? Like that's where you get the Ren and Stimpies of the world. That's where you get The Simpsons obviously is like the big early 90s thing. But it was part of a whole new generation of cartoons for grown-ups or cartoons for kids that their parents wouldn't hate having on in the house.
Right.
Yeah. I think a lot of it was suddenly you're getting cartoons made by people who grew up watching cartoons. So there's a I shouldn't say that. The 80s cartoons are their own thing. But they're very much for kids, as for all their strengths. They are kids' cartoons. Yeah, 90s is when it's like, this is for the whole family. This is so that mom and dad can watch this too and have something,
Yeah. Also, I love that we have now gone half an hour without actually saying anything that happens in the feature film Rock and Rule. So I'm gonna wrench us back on track.
I mean, that's kind of what happens in the movie too.
Well, no, a lot happens in this movie. I thank you very much. This movie has This movie has a whole ass plot. It has a whole ass everything. It's just that it doesn't execute very well on almost any part of it. Like I will go to bat for this movie with asterisks attached, right? Like execution is everything. A lot of balls are
asterisk,
dropped,
little S sign, double daggers.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it is the distant dystopian 80s future where everything is fog and thunderstorms and huge lumpy arcology buildings and burnt out slums and neon and smoke, and everyone's a weird looking rat person. And
Yes.
And we start in a place called ohmTown, which has a big ass power plant that it's apparently famous for. I don't know. So
I get it. ohmTown. It's like a joke on Watts.
Oh, that's pretty funny, actually.
Actually, it probably isn't. I probably just came up with that from whole cloth. But either way.
Well, ohmTown may be listen. ohmTown may just be a shitty little podunk town with a power plant, but this is like that. It's like Athens, Georgia. It's where all the rock bands come from.
Yeah, and it's where this dystopian future's ultra super mega rock star, Mock, that's M-O-K in all caps. His full name is Mock Swagger, so you can imagine what they're going to make it look like. Though I don't know if they actually say his full name at any point in the film.
I don't.
No, they just call him
do.
Mock the whole time.
Yeah, they just call
and
him.
He calls himself Mock. That's his big song.
Yeah.
Mock, M-O-K. Part of me wishes that it stood for something. Like, I'm sure they could come up with a cool acronym.
Mental
M-O-K.
organism.
Yeah.
Mental organism dot killing.
Yeah. Man overboard in kayak. But Mock is the baddie.
Okay.
So Mark is the baddie. He's a legendary super rocker, quote unquote, and he is looking to open a dimensional doorway using his evil computers to decipher ancient code. And the missing piece is one very special voice. And wouldn't you know it, we've got some characters who have voices, specifically the members of a fun but underappreciated little garage band called Cheap Trick. Actually, they're just called. Do they even have a band name?
I
don't remember.
They do choose a name towards the end of the movie. Omar and the Daycares.
That's under a different brainwashy context, and yes, of course, this is a cartoon with brainwashing in.
Very sexy.
Yeah, so again, this is a very, very horny film in certain ways, depending on your proclivities. If you are one of those people, and I know at least one of you is listening, one of those that does the take a shot every time you see some weird thing you're into represented on screen, then some of you are going to be dead by Act 2, and that's fine. But yeah, so we have a band. There's Omar. He's the front man, and he's the hot-headed jock And he is voiced by he's originally voiced by Greg Salata, who was in a bunch of films that are less known. I think he was in like a bunch of TV. Eventually he had like a bit part at Bernie's. He had a tiny role in the second Ninja Turtles film. But he was pretty unknown before Rock and Roll, and pretty unknown afterwards because he was recast in the American by Paul Le Mat, about whom we spoke earlier. But Omar's singing voice is the great Robin Zander, lead singer and guitarist for Cheap Trick. And his singing voice is amazing. I like it very much. We also have his counterpart, the girl one, Angel. Angel is the girl one. She's played by Susan Roman, and her singing voice is the phenomenal Debbie Harry.
Yes,
and
the old woman who lived in a shoe.
Yeah, and as the two protagonists, these two are both the most and the least animated, by which I mean they have fantastically expressive faces, impeccable lip sync, lots of really wild and sometimes over the top but still kind of grounded eye movements, but also physically they are rotoscoped to hell and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's the case with way too many of these characters, honestly.
Yeah, I think the reason that it feels to me so strong and so dissonant with Omar and Angel specifically is because they're the ones that are designed to look the most regular human.
And then they have to, plop those noses on them.
Exactly. Yeah. The other band members we'll get to in a moment, because I think Mike, you're Mike on the podcast or Corella on the podcast?
Mike's good.
Okay. Mike, as someone who's dabbled in drawing funny animal characters before, how do you feel about the designs of these future rat people?
I mean, personally, I would make them more ratty. I would rat it up.
Absolutely.
That's my personal feel. But like, this is kind of what I would expect, because it's like, I'm used to seeing like Disney dog face types. So this is not like unexpected. I think probably Dizzy and Stretch work a little bit better because they can lean a little more into the silliness of it. They don't have to make them like, oh, they're not hot, so they don't have to make them look like regular humans with weird noses. They can kind of make them all gangly and weird, and like it you don't notice the weirdness as much then.
Yeah, Dizzy and Stretch being the other two band members. Dizzy is the fat one, but also the voice of reason. And
Dizzy is the best character. He is the only one who thinks about anything besides himself.
That is also true. And Stretch is the lanky, goofy one. Dizzy and Stretch are recreated almost exactly in an extremely goofy movie. I realize because PJ is just a Dizzy.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you think that was on purpose?
You know what? If any animation team had seen Rock and Roll, it's definitely the people that did the Goofy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So we have our band, and Mark, who only appears as an evil, shadowy figure, is talent scouting to find this special voice, and it turns out that Angel has that special voice, which we only discover after she eventually, after desperately trying to get Omar to let the band play her song, she just says, "Fuck it, I'll do it myself," and so she does, and it's good. She's got a good voice, and Mark is like, "Ah, yes, perfect."
Yeah, Omar is kind of an asshole.
Omar is an asshole. He's an asshole until the last 5 minutes of the film. He
really learned his lesson, didn't he?
Yeah. Let's say that from I don't.
We didn't
Omar
yet
is-
have the algorithm tell us that our heroes need to be likable.
Yeah, Omar is he does that thing where he has kind of a deathbed conversion at the very end of the film, but he's still kind of a jerk about it even then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So but
And he's not the one who has the literal deathbed conversion.
No, that's true. That's true. Speaking of algorithms,
Except for the bed. That's not literal.
Yes.
we didn't mention another very important player is Mock's evil computer. So his evil computer, which I love the design of, because apart from one shot, it only appears as this logo on a screen, but the logo on a screen is like this stylized pentagram, and like a chunk of the pentagram is cut out for the mouth, and it's very cool. It's very evil. It's very obviously evil, and Mock is searching for the Armageddon, which is what this voice is part of.
Yeah.
And
he's basically looking for the anti-life equation.
basically, yeah. Yeah. We should mention what the songs actually are, right? Because that's the rock in this movie. So Omar's song, the first song that the band is performing is called "Born to Raise Hell," which is performed by Cheap Trick, and I think is a pretty damn good rock song.
Yeah. It slaps.
I don't remember it.
It's the one that the chorus goes, "I wasn't born for love, I was born to raise hell."
I don't remember that.
Okay, well, it's good.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. This is quality music. You see, the thing about rock and roll is you can only like it, you can only really appreciate it if you know how to rock. Is what I'm saying.
That's true. That's true. Ethan, when's the last time you rocked and or rolled? Listeners, that silence is not your podcatcher messing up. That is Ethan failing to tell us a time when he has claimed his role in the pantheon of rock.
How do you know when you're done? I might be doing it right now.
I think you know. I think you know if you were rocking and or rolling.
Maybe I just always am, and no one has ever caught on to it.
And the other song we get, which Angel interrupts with, is Angel's Song, performed by Debbie Harry, which is just a really nice anthemic pop song, which we will hear many more times over the course of the movie in different incarnations. And I think it's good. I think it is nice. It's very catchy. I found myself like just humming it yesterday when I was cooking. I was like, oh, damn it. Oh, no. Why is this in my head? Why do I have the rock and roll song in my head? And the answer is because it's good. Like, one of the main points of pride that you can especially see in the making of section is that everyone is so excited to have Debbie Harry, to have Robin Zander and Cheap Trick, to have Iggy Pop, to have Lou Reed, to have Earth, Wind and Fire be part of this production. And I think that for the most part, the songs are showcased really, really well. And,
I was kind of charmed by how much the guy from Earth, Wind, and Fire was psyched about doing this.
Oh,
he was really
psyched.
Yeah, it was like, now I'm gonna be in a movie. This is great. Hey, a movie. We're gonna make a movie starring everybody and Cheap Trick.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, so after the band finished their performance, Angel and Omar have a little argument where Omar's like, he's impatient. He says he wants everything, and then Omar's like, and Angel is saying, I also want everything, but it takes time. You have to be patient. I'm the girl one, and you're the hot-headed man, kind of thing. But of course,
I was hoping he would say, well, we can't both have everything. One of us has to have everything, the other one has to have nothing. That's definitively how it works.
Yeah. But this is part of their foreplay, because after this, they walk off arm in arm and they go point, which isn't called make out point, but I don't remember what it's called. So I'm just going to say make out point, because the camera
it's hilarious. They're in a they're in a car on concrete blocks overlooking one of the few undeveloped areas.
Yeah, the camera pans past another car, which is like bouncing and shaking because lest we forget, this movie wants you to know sex exists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these rat people, they get it on.
You may notice that there are a lot of these rat people. That's not an accident.
Yeah. So, but before they can get it on, a big ugly goon
Yes.
breaks into the car with a business card.
Yeah. A Beagle Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are basically the Beagle Boys. And yeah, it's a mock business card, and the band is invited to go all the way to Mock's like compound castle mad science facility.
See, the problem with naming this villain Mock is that every time you describe something as his, it sounds like fake, like a mock business card. What? It's really gelatin? What?
Yeah, even
Mock
fewer
turtle
calories
soup?
fewer calories than a regular business card. Oh, we do get a couple of fun jokes. Like, we establish Stretch and Dizzy's characters by Stretch being like, "Oh, it's Mark. He's all creepy. He'll put a heck on me." And Dizzy says, "Stretch, it's hex. 2 of them. That's even worse."
Yeah.
I did crack up at that.
Except because he's the wacky characters, he says, "That's even worse."
Yes, yeah. My my voice
Where do they
acting
get
is
Brooklyn
not
accents in a
100%.
post-human world?
well, it's established that New York exists as Nuke York. So,
Nuke York, yeah.
Yeah. New York. Yeah.
yeah.
What are the
They're not-
boroughs of Nuke York? There's like Nuklin, and then like, and then 3 Mile Island, and
Queen of the Wastelands.
yes,
Yeah.
Coney Island is the same, but it's just that everyone there is a rabbit now.
Hey, there you go. That's good. I like that.
That's why it's called Coney Island. They used to hunt rabbits there.
Oh, well, there you go.
I should know that.
You learned something.
Huh. So we get to the castle, and this is where we should point out that, at least I think, there are some fantastic paintings in this film. Like amazing background work, but also just like the way that so many of these locations are designed, especially the exteriors, is gorgeous. They're intricate, they're foreboding, like the way that like so many of the architectural choices are like really dark but like picked out by neon or by like sort of like sickly looking yellow and orange daylight. It really sells the whole like dystopian sci-fi setting.
Yeah.
And Mock's Castle is a great example of this, because this is the kind of thing that you only ever see in like a proper sci-fi dystopia made with someone who's in it for the love of the
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's one of those things where a lot of times when you watch films like this, and people are always like, "Well, why is everything neon? Why did they do this? What's going on?" And it's like the answer is because it's cool, and that is always the correct answer for this. This is one of those genres, where things need to look cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm just thinking of the time that I was talking with Morb about. She was asking why I wasn't into Scooby-Doo, and I gave like 5 or 6 answers. And she said, "Well, what about the backgrounds?"
I mean, the backgrounds
I
are
was
pretty
just like,
cool.
that is like the last refuge of. Well, you gotta admit these backgrounds are great, right?
The backgrounds are very cool in Scooby-Doo, but I think if you're getting to the point where that's your main selling point, you've pretty much you've lost that sale.
Yeah, exactly. But in Rock and Roll, the backgrounds have a lot more to do than the ones in Scooby-Doo. Because we are meant to be pulled into the world of the film, and the way they do that is by these huge sweeping establishing shots with these matte paintings that must have taken like teams of people hours to complete for the for the camera to sweep across for like maybe 10-20 seconds.
The overhead shot that we see them making in the making of video is pretty impressive, especially the interesting technique. I don't know if this is a common thing or if they invented it, where rather than painting clouds, they're using like literal cotton batting on layers.
Yeah, Yeah, the composition is really impressive, and I wish that the making of spent more time on just like like I would have loved to have seen how they built up a shot from like from original sketches to finished piece. Yeah, it's really cool. So the gang like chug along in their cool like future jalopy, to Mox Yee, where they are introduced formally to the roller skating Schlepper brothers.
Yeah, these guys are great. I also feel like that there is some sort of backstory to them that we never get because
Yeah.
The fact that they are, specifically, not just goons, but the roller skating Schlepper brothers. It's like, oh, were they a circus act before they mock recruited them or something? But this is never established. This is never remarked upon. There's just these three dudes. We get like, what are they like? Zip, Sleazy, and God, what's the last one's name? Toad. Yes.
Toad is the leader. He's the grumpy one with the scar. Who has any brain cells whatsoever.
Yeah, the other two are kind of dumb.
There's the mean dumb one, which is Sleazy, and there's the nice dumb one, which is Zip.
Yes.
This is a character that Mike and I treasure, the big dumb goon who actually has a heart of gold and doesn't realize that they're actually supposed to be being evil.
Yeah, this was a staple of later 80s cartoons where villains would have sidekicks who literally did not know that they were villains. Who spent their whole time, like, whenever a villain's like, go out and do this thing, and be, well, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
So, how did you get this job?
I feel like this character reached its apex with Big Billy from the Gangrene Gang.
Yeah. Big Billy's a classic of the genre. Zip makes sense because he's got these two evil brothers, so he kind of follows along with them, so I get it.
But there's another influence in his life who you would think would be, more like, which way Western, whatever the hell kind of monster I am.
Oh, yes. That is Cinderella, of course, I believe we're talking of.
Yes. You may have heard of Cinderella and how she was, dressed in yellow and went upstairs to kiss a fella. This is different.
Yeah, this is a different Cinderella. There is a separate sister, but we don't meet her yet.
This Cinderella would have a hard time on stairs because she, like her three brothers, also wears roller skates all of the time. We meet Cindy later, but we should talk about the Schleppers in general. Mike, how would you describe the design of Cinderella?
Well, Cinderella is, how when you ever watch like Looney Tunes and there's a bulldog, you want in a cartoon to indicate someone is strong, you just give them like a massive upper body and like tiny little feet and legs. That's kind of what they do with Cinderella. Now, I'll admit, like, I really like Cinderella. She is kind of my jam. Now, I mean, personally, I'm not generally into this kind of strong fat look that she's got, but I'm not against it. And I just like the thing that's the most fun about Cinderella is that she's out to have a good time. Girls just want to have fun. And, that's her kind of her. That's her deal. In fact, I don't know, she doesn't seem to, her brothers all seem to work, but she just seems to hang out, I think.
I never see what she does as part of the act.
Yeah, she goes to the club,
Yeah.
She's
so she seems to be just as much a prisoner as Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Kind of
she's kept under a curfew. The phrase I wrote down to describe Cinderella was airhead linebacker.
Yes.
Like, and that is both her physicality and her characterization. Like, she is one of these classic like cartoon women who is colossal and doesn't know her own strength.
Yeah. Basically, imagine a giant housewife from a Chuck Jones cartoon. This is her as a teenager.
Yeah. This is her, but Cyndi Lauper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that Cyndi Lauper doing the voice?
No, it's Catherine Gallant.
Ah, okay.
Or Gallant. She does not even have a Wikipedia entry, so this must have been like her one thing.
Well, she did a good job.
Yeah, she did. I think she's very fun. I think she's one of the most consistently entertaining parts of the film. important to the plot because she's the one that will eventually bust Angel out of the mock joint.
Hey everyone, this is Mike. Just letting you know that we talked so much about rock and roll that we are splitting this up into 2 episodes. So join us next week for the conclusion of our special rock and or rule episode.